Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today we have a replay that demonstrates the FV101 can carry games. Now we're playing on Erlenberg, which many years ago was affectionately called Early Bath by a friend who, well, rest in peace, he called this Early Bath. And well, we've had this map has been revamped since the early days of World War II and pre 6.0. But as I understand it, it was called Early Bath because people used to play the river. I don't know if the number of islands in the river has changed, if there's more or less now, but from what I remember, every now and then you'd catch a tank playing one of the islands in the river. And it was called Early Bath, I assume, because people would die early due to drowning, and that's the early bit, and they'd die because they were taking a bath. So there you go. Erlenberg, Early Bath. That's, I believe, where the name came from, or it's just a play on Erlenberg. I have no idea. But anyway, there you go. That's a little bit of historical trivia for you about Erlenberg. Anyway, the FV101. This is, near as makes no difference, basically the same as the FV101. So you've got in the tech tree, you've got the Centurion 2, which you'll have to play through. Then you unlock the FV101, and after the FV101, you get to the FV107. Now, the top speed of the FV101 is 85 kilometers an hour. The top speed of the FV107 is 87 kilometers an hour. The 101 has 269 meters of concealment, and the FV107 has 271. So, near as makes no difference. They're basically the same hull, basically the same chassis, which means the playstyles from a scouting point of view, these two tanks are basically identical. They can be played exactly the same way. They behave the same way. They can be played the same way. They'll spot the same way. You'll get spotting assist exactly the same way. You'll tip over onto your roof and slide around. You'll be on your side in exactly the same way in both of them. So there really is absolutely no difference. The differences show up with the weapon systems. Now that shot penned the side of the Bulldog, and I did 200 and something. But as you'll see here, back of the IS-3, because I wasn't aiming at the specific weak point on the back of the IS-3, I think that was 27 damage because I'm firing high explosive only. That's all the 101 has got. This is a high explosive slinger, and that's it. Now that might sound like a bad thing. But one of the positives is, if you know where to aim, if you know where to shoot stuff, you can actually pull in a lot of damage with this thing. If you rely on auto lock, so RBRT, if you rely on that as your main strategy for getting damage, it can work. I mean, if you're fighting a PT-76, then by all means, go ahead. You will absolutely destroy them. Just like that. 3 shots, he's dead. And I've pulled in a fair bit of damage. But if you've got anything that's armoured, T-34, M103, IS-3, IS-4, anything like that, you're going to struggle. As you'll see here, front of the IS-4, I think that's the front of the, no, it's the IS-3. Nothing. Rear of the IS-3, nothing. Side of the IS-3, nothing. But you can track stuff with the high explosive. You've got that option, and you've also got the high explosive option does mean that you can shred FV1. Jeez, I've got the FVs all mixed up. You can shred 4005s. If you can get around the side of a 4005, or if you can stay behind a 4005, you can absolutely demolish it. It can't reverse its gun all the way around, and you're guaranteed to do max damage on the turret. The only problem with tanks like this, the FV107 and the FV101, is that well, how do I put this? The wargaming servers basically can't keep up with the vehicles that they've got running in this game. There is so much server reticle lag with the 101 and the 107, and the 101 especially. It's very difficult to play, not because it's a difficult tank. It's difficult to play because we've got to manage Wargaming's server issues. It would be nice if Wargaming handled their own problems themselves, but apparently they're leaving that to us, the players, to manage. We are expected to not only play the game, fight against the enemy team, we're also expected to fight against their servers, their server lag, and their latency. So Just be warned, if you play the 101 at close range, you're going to have those problems. And it can be very, very frustrating because it's not our fault. Wargaming should take responsibility for their side of things, but hey, why do that when you can focus on getting money out of the whales? Anyway, the 101, it does come with a premium round. At the moment, I'm firing standard and I don't have any premium loaded, but there's a very good reason for that, and I don't fully understand why anyone would load premium, because there is no benefit to firing premium high explosive in this thing at all. I mean, based on the stats that I know, the alpha is exactly the same, and the penetration is almost half. Penetration of standard round is 90mm, which isn't very big. That's not a lot of penetration. But secondary gold is 48mm, and both rounds will do 250 alpha. So why the gold, why the more expensive round is worse, I really don't know. I have no idea why that is the case, but for that reason, I never load any gold high explosive in the 101 at all, ever. It's just not worth it. Absolutely not worth it. But the toss-up between these two vehicles, there's not a whole lot between the 101 and the 107. Now, this IS-4 is a problem. I cannot do very much to an IS-4. The only way I can do damage to an IS-4 is if he sits stationary, and I can sit behind him while he is distracted by other things or other people to shoot at. And based on the way the game is playing out right now, my team is not about to expose themselves to an IS-4 who's, even though he's sort of wandering and meandering through the middle of the map, they're not going to expose themselves. But yes, the 101 and the 107, they're very, very similar, but the weapon systems are what change things. That's me trying to motivate the team to shoot the IS-4 because I can't do anything to it. I know between myself and Russ, we have conversations every now and then. I prefer the 107. Russ prefers the 101, and that's fine. It all depends on your playstyle. Both can be very, very good, but for me, I find the 101 to be just... it's less consistent from a damage point of view. For example, if we were to rewind to that engagement with the... well, I engaged a bulldog twice earlier, and the first engagement, I think I did like 76 damage or something. Now, if that were a 107, I could almost guarantee penning every shot with 2 clips, so we're talking maybe 300, 400 damage, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're in the end stages of a game like this, where it's 4 versus 4, that can matter. Those small numbers of hit points can matter towards the end stages of a game. So, I would prefer to do damage consistently and predictably than have it be a bit of a roll of the dice and hope for the best, rolling the dice with high explosive. I would rather have a gun that can more accurately and more consistently do damage than the randomness of high explosive. I'm now kind of, at this point in the game, I remember thinking to myself, right, I need to do this myself. The team is not going to be here for me. I've got to do this myself. Unfortunately, both of these targets are relatively soft. I know that I can pen the back of an E3. The Lorraine 40T is slightly easier to pen, but he does have that 6-round clip, and I don't know how many shots he's fired. That shot vanishes. I don't know where that went. I can pen every shot with the Lorraine, and there goes the Lorraine. Now it's a case of trying to escape the E3. He knows exactly where I am. He's already put 2 shots into me, which isn't ideal. So getting as much distance between myself and him is the thing to do. So falling back down the B line, heading south, just to keep him spotted so that my friend, I think that's a 4005 left on my team, just so the 4005 has an idea of where the E3 is. The more info you have in game, the better. IS-4 has gone, and E3 is left, and from, there we go, it's a Type 773, which again, fortunate, that's got no armor. I can handle a 773, and I've got decent hit points left. So now, my job is to spot the enemy targets, not necessarily to engage them. What I need to do is I need to spot them so that the 4005 has as much information to work on as possible. He's calling for help, so I'm falling back to this side of the map just to check every single area to find out where the 773 is. Unfortunately, though, the 773 makes it all the way around. That was a full pen from what I assume was 1500 alpha. That was likely an average damage roll for high explosive. But here we go. Final E3 is distracted. The 4005 is reloading, which I assume the E3 wasn't aware of, because the E3 decided to turn and fight me. The 4005 is reloaded. There goes the final shot. And there we go. That is the carry in the 101. That is the power of a scout when the enemy team doesn't have any left. It's always good to know where the enemy is. 5 kills, 4,178 damage. Carrying the game there for the team towards the end. They were very campy on the ridge. They needed eyes, and I was those eyes for them. 2,676 assists. Mastery, hanging on to the 3 mark, which is... The 101 was quite a difficult one to 3 mark, I will be honest. This was one tank that I didn't think I would 3 mark, but hey, I managed to in the end. Alright guys, that's all I've got for this video, so if you've enjoyed it, please leave it a like, if not a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.